I'm gonna go double check on YouTube. We're waiting. Okay. See if it pops up. It's like the worst part about streaming on YouTube. I never know what's going on. This is why, dude, like having an assistant or a manager would be so okay, we're good. It would be so legendary because I don't have to like worry about these things. Like, you know, with Rogan, he's got his friend Jamie, and he just like takes care of everything. And all Joe Rogan has to do is talk.
Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah, even G had a producer who like he just showed up, right? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it was it's pretty sweet.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right, guys. Well, listen, welcome to the Joyage Kingdom. I'm Cage, your guide. Be replaced on the voice inside your head for now, giving you a break from the constant internal monologue that is the human mind. I want to say first, thank you for listening or viewing on whatever platform you're on. If you haven't already, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, join the fucking kingdom. Today, I'm joined by the founder of NFT Internet Game. This is an NFT project looking to gamify the world, especially in this bear market. I'm really excited to talk about it. We have an event coming up in a few days now as kind of like well, I guess it's kind of like is it like a marketing campaign? Is that what you'd like to describe it as?
I think so. You know, for us, it was just like a way to really just kind of bring a bunch of communities together. Because again, this is like, I think in the NFT space, it's kind of like a rising tide lifts all ships. Yeah. And Internet Game in a lot of ways is like this really great engagement tool. It can bring a lot of people together. And so we wanted to just kind of showcase, you know, our capability, our technology, our platform with these communities, and then thereby also, you know, share that we have this really awesome Internet Game season 2 coming up in September.
Hell yeah, dude. And you guys, I know one of the calling cards people are excited about is because they saw that BAYC, bro. They saw that BAYC as one of the top prizes there. That must be fucking wild just to have a Bored Ape just sitting there for a prize.
Yeah, actually it gets a little crazier too, just because, you know, one, you know, the way that we actually run things in general is that everything's up for a vote with our community. So the way that we do things is that, you know, obviously we were preparing for season 2 and wanted to have, you know, our anchor prize or our first prize. And so what we did is we said, hey guys, should we buy a Bored Ape or should we buy a CryptoPunk? And Bored Ape still king, right? Like 750 plus votes for the Bored Ape, and I think it was only like 400 and change for the punk. But you know, for us, actually, the way that Internet Game even started was really around this whole idea of like, imagine you could play in these fun little mini games and win a Bored Ape, right? And you know, kind of cutting into the story, but like literally we had raised a small amount of money, so we had like $500,000-$600,000, and then we literally spent half of it on a Bored Ape for season 1. That's actually how we got our start. So
that's fucking wild. What about the other stuff? What did you guys spend it on for the remainder of it?
So the way that Internet Game works in general is that we basically take 60% of our mint and we put it towards the prize pool, right? So in season 1, we did $2.1-ish million in our mint. So we did $1.1 million in NFTs, Jesus. Right? Yeah. So, and like you try spending $1 million on NFTs in a week, it's actually really, really hard. But
yeah,
you know, the season 1 prize pool had, I mean, like, you know, 100 plus prizes in it, everything from multiple Bored Apes, Mune Apes, Cool Cats, Doodles, Azukis, Neo Tokyo Citizen, Land, motherfuckers. Like the list went on. Like we had like, and actually this was kind of crazy. So we spent the $1.1 million, but by the time we actually delivered the prizes, it was like $1.5 million worth of NFTs because the wisdom of the crowd, right, led to this like appreciation of the portfolio or of the collection. It's actually pretty crazy.
That's legendary, dude. Who won the first one?
Do you know? I mean, there's this dude named Slick. I mean, I don't know too much about him. Actually, there's actually 2 really interesting stories here, right? Because again, theoretically, there was 2 first place winners because we had 2 Bored Apes, right? Mm-hmm. So Bored Ape number 1, Bored Ape number 2. And, you know, I think they had like a 1 point tournament differential in general. But like Slick was this like, you know, he's just like a regular guy. Like I think he's a little bit older than me. I'm 32. And, you know, for him, he was like this, like, you know, he was just like really, really smart about like how he went about things. He had multiple game tokens. So he like had a lot of different tries. The person who came in second place had 1 game token. And the rumor is that his wife played all of the games.
Oh my fucking God. That's hilarious. Yeah. Wow.
It's crazy.
Dude, imagine winning a fucking Bored Ape playing a video game.
That's what it is. The welcome to Internet Game.
Ooh, that is nuts. That is fucking nuts. So tell me, you've done a shit ton of AMAs and Q&As and talking about your communities. What do you think the most common question you've already gotten that you've had to just answer repeatedly?
I mean, I think it's important to kind of set the table and be like, you know, like, hey, how did Internet Game come to be? I think like the origin story around it is pretty interesting just because I think that we look so different from, you know, again, you probably do. I mean, this is episode 93, right? So everyone's like, yeah, you know, we have our PFP and we are going to we're gonna do our television show, or we're gonna build a first-person shooter, or the metaverse, right? And so I'm sure you probably hear a lot of the same stuff over and over again, as opposed to us. I think that we actually have a very different kind of origin story and kind of where we're going and thesis in general. But that's usually probably the most common thing.
Yeah, I guess so. That would make sense. And there's people. One of the people who is, well, I forget what position. Let me double check. I have the website here. So it's hosted by the Internet Game Season 2 by Leah and then G Money. I don't know who G Money is. I wasn't able to find too much, but I know Leah. I saw her on Instagram. She's like a stand-up comedian. She's like super hardcore in the entertainment industry.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Leah is a fantastic comedian. She definitely has some like kind of NFT crypto overlap as well. She has a comedy special that's called NFT Nice Fucking Titties. Whatever. And but no, she's super awesome. And we thought she would be like this really great foil to G Money. And G Money is, I mean, like in a lot of ways, I think is probably the most prominent quote unquote NFT personality or influencer or creator, whatever you want to call him. He basically was part of he is one of the people that partnered with Adidas and Bored Ape Yacht Club to do that whole Adidas launch.
Oh shit. Okay. All right. Then I do know this person. I was looking at it, then I was like, I probably know them, but honestly, when I see CryptoPunk people, I just don't. They all look the same, so I'm like, oh, it's another punk.
He has like the board punk thing going on, right? So
yeah,
he's. I mean, and I think this guy, he's probably like. He's a heavyweight in the space. And like, that was one of the reasons that we're so excited to work with him, is just because he's like truly the individual who's like working with the biggest brands and all that kind of stuff to really kind of pull them and educate them and bring them into the Web3 space. So, he's doing God's work in a lot of ways. So yeah, he's an investor in Internet Game. He's an advisor to us. So we're thrilled to have him involved.
How do you, do you know like what he like does or is specifically that got him to be in that position to basically do whatever the fuck he wants?
Yeah, I mean, he tells the story really well, but I mean, the story about G, I don't know how much I can, because he's, obviously a private individual. So like, I need to be careful with what I say about him, but like, in short, he was in the Web3 space, participating in a number of different ways, largely as a trader, et cetera. NFT started to come to be, and he really kind of like saw the like NFT light, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And then he basically, I think he bought a punk for like $150,000 or $40,000 at some point in time, right? And he wrote this thread on it. And again, he's like, OG, so this is probably like, I don't know, early 2021.
Yeah.
And so that post really is kind of like what brought him into like Twitter fame and whatever it is. And then, now he's like, again, a pretty prominent investor. He's the founder of Admit One, which is in a lot of ways like very similar to kind of like a proof collective. So that's like a really, really great community. That was a free cool. Now at like, 8-10 ETH. And he's also launching something called 90cc, which is this like, kind of Web3 first fashion brand, right? So it has like this kind of a lot of like kind of technology built into this like really high quality fashion brand material.
Oh yeah, dude, that's fucking legendary. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I just went and checked his Twitter and I saw that thread. It was January 2021. That's fucking wild, dude. Because that was a different time. I don't know how long you've been in NFTs. I got in like in May or June of last year or something, so a bit after him. But dude, that was entirely the vibe was just so different. Like there was like something in the fucking air, dude.
Oh my god, yeah. I mean, for me, just I've been in Web3 or crypto in particular since 2015. And so, for me, I've actually always kind of been more of like the altcoin, like again, I bought Ethereum at $9, right? Like that was when I was first introduced to it. And so for me, I've always kind of spent more time in the kind of more traditional components of Web3. Like, so I spent more time in like the ICO stuff and the altcoins and all that kind of stuff. But then NFTs, I think like for me, the thing I've really just come to enjoy about NFTs is that they actually created digital scarcity, which is like amazing. And then the second thing is that like the transferability of these kind of digital assets is also something that's just like unbelievable, right? The practical applications of NFT technology are so significant. And I think that right now we're still kind of in the whole like kind of, or we're coming out of it really, but like this whole PFP mania of like forever jam-packed utility and look how cute this is. That kind of stuff I think has kind of distracted people, but I think the true power of NFT technology is really going to start to show up now.
Yeah, more than likely, I agree. I remember when I'd been in crypto for I think a year or two before NFTs popped up, but I remember when NFTs were just kind of getting some attention in Journey Crypto, and I don't know if Alex Becker at that point or Elliot Trace was talking about, but I only remember Journey Crypto mentioning apes a few times. I remember he mentioned the first time, and I literally didn't even give it enough attention to bother looking it up. Like it was that level of just like, oh, it's this monkey thing, and that's literally how he's like, oh, this NFT new thing, like these things are like worth a few hundred or a few thousand bucks. It was very, very cheap. It's definitely under 2 Ethereum at the time. And I remember I didn't even like look it up. I just was like, oh, it's a monkey thing. I don't have time for that. Like I'm still trying to pick which altcoin is going to go to the moon, like which one is going to be. And that's the kind of the mindset I was in. Do you remember what your first NFT was?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it today. I mean, it was some rug, right? Like,
oh shit, you got rugged.
I'm like, what is going on here? Like, someone's like, oh, you'll mint this thing. There's like a lot of activity around it, and then the Discord shuts down and the website.
Fuck.
Good times, right?
Damn, dude.
Yeah, but so like that was my like first NFT, but like now like my major purchases have really been in the Forgotten Runes collection. Those guys I really like. I think that team is super strong. Obviously I have a fair amount of my collection.
Yeah.
I'm gonna admit one that's really great. I'm really excited about 90cc as well, which is coming out next week. So
very cool, dude. What'd you say?
What about you?
My first NFT, it was the Evaverse. So I ended up holding it for like 8 months, but it didn't do anything for a long time. I was able to sell it for a lot of money though.
I just got introduced to the team, actually. Funny.
They're very cool. Yeah, it's a very cool project. I love them. I think I was supposed to do a podcast with, honestly, there's like multiple metaverse style projects I'm supposed to have a podcast with that just never happened, never came to fruition. I assume it's just because they're busy as fuck. Like I remember when I was able to speak to BioPills, and I was, because that project like blew up out of fucking nowhere too, and everyone's excited about that.
We had a bunch of those in season 1.
Yeah. Oh, did you? Hell yeah.
We gave away like 3 or 4 of those.
Dude, those ramped up fucking high. I think they're at one point like 2 or 3 Ethereum for the pills. It got like crazy at one point. But with Evaverse, yeah, I bought that at like 0.07 or something like that, and I bought like an ultra rare celestial whatever fuck, and sold it. I bought it at 0.06 or 0.07, sold it for like 2 ETH. I probably could have sold it for like closer to 5 at the height of the market, but I didn't know we were at the height of the market, so I just kind of held it. And they were like still coming out with stuff, and I was like, oh, let me just hold it. And then I got an offer during the middle of the bear market, and I was like, I'm not gonna turn down a 2 ETH offer on something I paid like $75 for. So that was a pretty good one. But typically, dude, like out of all the first 20 NFTs that I bought, 19 of the 20, except for the Evaverse, all went to zero.
Well, I mean, that's the interesting thing about the space, and I think that the thing that we don't truly recognize, I think people like, I'm hoping that they wake up to this and start thinking about it. Oh, that's
cool.
That's a nice comment. Is that like when you think about NFTs in general, like what you're really doing is you're kickstarting technology companies, like Kickstarter wise, like you're literally just like crowdfunding like technology companies.
Yep.
In exchange for a JPEG it's kind of the idea, right? And the idea is that the JPEG or the NFT has value that's associated with it and somehow participates in their ecosystem in a lot of ways. But startups are hard, right? Like I've been a startup operator for 10 plus years. I've been a venture capitalist for 4 years. Like you can't, like it's startups are hard enough without having to be a public equity where you have the community being like, when moon, or why is the floor price dropping, right? Like it's a really difficult thing. And this frankly just makes it more complicated.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is the key differences from a normal startup where you're not constantly having to fill people in on Discord and update the floor price and to explain why the floor has dropped? And they're like, this project's dead, right? You're like, well, just because the floor is dropping doesn't mean it's dead. But like, I guess if you want to run to that extreme, you can.
No, for sure. I mean, I think that like, again, like Web 2 startups is like, again, you get to build in private. You get to, build something, launch something, and, iterate on it over the course of time, right? Like that's the whole point. And like even with venture capital, there's a reason that the venture capital community or like industry even exists, right? Like think about all the blockchain gaming companies that you've heard of or think about, like whatever. Fortnite has raised over $7 billion in venture funding, right? Like and think about the product that they have, right? They've billions of dollars in funding, hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, right? Like to build something at that size and scale and to support something like that requires a ton of capital. And to think that you can do that off of a mint is ridiculous, I guess is the honest truth. And I think that like that's kind of like the secret, or like I think the thing that's going to kind of come to be understood over the course of time is that, like, again, like we mentioned earlier, right? Like my first NFT was like a very obvious rug. It's like, haha, we tricked you, like, see you later, goodbye. What's happening now is you're going to have this entire world of like unintentional rugs, right? So these are projects that did really well, had a team, like, did a really great mint, had a really solid floor, was doing really well on secondary, had a team that was really, really well-intentioned, incredibly well-intentioned, but things take longer than you expect, right? It's harder to get that Netflix show. It's harder to do whatever it is you're going to do. And then all of a sudden the market drops, people exit out, the floor price drops, the volume drops, and you've been executing on your project for a year. That mint revenue which is your runway, has now really started to dissipate.
Yeah.
Community has, constricted to maybe 50, 60% of its size, 40% of its size.
If that, yeah.
And then what do you do?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, well, I was going to say, like, so I assume you, like, with the Board Yacht Club, how they went and
raised $400
basically, raised a fuck ton of money and went a more business, I guess, like, in quotes, like, business route that most projects haven't done. I assume that you're a fan of that because that's the only way to scale.
So we just did a $7 million round after season 1.
Legend.
Right. So, like, for us, like, again, like, don't get me wrong, like, we have a business model. We have like, again, there's so many nuances to internet game. Like our vision is to become one of the biggest consumer facing brands in Web3. Our vision is to onboard the masses into Web3 through casual games and aligning incentive and motivation. That means giving people more than just like NFT gains, right? The only people that are in the NFT or the Web3 space right now are attracted to the space due to what I refer to as economic incentive. Yep. Right? Like, you get into it because they're like, oh wait, I can make money doing this, right? Like, okay, cool, I'll grind in the Discord, or I'll get the whitelist and then I'll flip it on OpenSea, and I'll do that 30 times a month and I'll make $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. Mm. Now the thing is that, like, most of the population, most of humanity does not care to spend their nights and weekends doing that, right? They just want to live they're accountants and teachers and personal trainers and, whatever, salespeople, like whatever they are. And, they want to hang out with their friends, and they want to go to the bar, and they want to work out. Like, that's what they want to do. They don't want to. So I guess the thing that we think about a lot is, like, what else can we offer people that like also can bring them into the Web3 space?
Yeah, I was going to say, and I would say most people on Earth don't really want to just sit around and like grind it. I've done that before.
OpenSea, right? Like,
yeah, I remember in the in like fall, it was like it was when the grind for whitelist first started popping off. I remember it was for Uga versus project, and I don't think I slept really for more than like an hour, just like here and there, and I was grinding for like 4 days straight. And then everyone started to do that kind of model, and it got crazy. But I remember thinking, like, while I was doing it, I was like, yo, who the fuck else is doing this? Like, only reason I can do this is because I'm full time in Web3.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but it works, right? Like, yeah. And like, it sucks, right? Because, like, we tried to not do it in season 1, and if you don't have several people typing and you don't have people just kind of bullshitting in your Discord, someone joins and they're like, "Why is it so quiet?" Like, "Oh, is this project dead? Am I early? Like, what's going on?" Like, there's like this expectation of, like, there needs to be just this activity, and to a certain extent, you need to like incentivize the activity, right? Like, Web3 is all about, like, kind of like, again, the consumer. Everyone's just like, kind of like, what have you done for me lately, right? Like, that's a lot of the attitude, and they're like, if you want me to do something, like, pay me. Is kind of like the model. And so, like, like, give me that whitelist, give me, offer me an NFT, like, give me a giveaway of some sort, like, like, all of that kind of stuff is the model. But the problem is that you kind of need it, because in order for you to attract others into your community and into what you're doing, they want to see that, like, it's like actually known as the Matthew effect is what it's called from a psychology perspective. They want to see excitement and attention. We basically give value to like attention, right? Like, so, obviously, have a following on Twitter and on YouTube and all these kinds of stuff. And then someone meets you, they're like, "Oh my God, Kate, it's so nice to meet you." And you're like, "I'm just a dude. Like, I'm just a guy." Yeah. Right? Like, they're so excited to meet you because you have attention around you.
Nah, dude, it's because of these glasses, bro.
It's because of the glasses. Those are dope.
I love these glasses. I'm gonna get these made into like a custom. I'm gonna hire out some like super high end sunglass thing. I'm like, yo, make this high end and not plastic and shitty. Like this thing is literally like peeling. Like this thing is like
Cool.
falling apart here. Love it. No, you're absolutely right, and that's a really interesting concept right there.
Yeah.
So you guys went to do some VC route and stuff like that. Like how do you speak to these people? Because I just did a podcast with Fortuna Finance's guy, and we were talking about like at what point the big companies and institutions get involved in this. And he was just like, look, until Web3 solves some kind of problem or is way more legit, or when Web2 companies can throw 500K into something and actually get a return on it, it's not going to happen anytime soon. And I was curious to hear what your thoughts are on that and how you guys like formed your pitch kind of thing.
I mean, I think that like there's people who believe in Web3 and there's people who don't. And, I think that from a technology standpoint, like blockchain technology was an innovation in computer science at its core, right? Yep. It allowed for, it solved the double spend error. God, thanks, Eugene. I'm trying to talk here, Eugene. He brought up the Mexican pizza. It's my favorite item from Taco Bell. And so, I don't know. What are you talking about?
Okay, I thought you forgot.
So basically, it's this thing where, like, again, it's this innovation in computer science, and basically, there's people that really, really believe in it and believe that it will essentially impact every single type of industry in so many different types of ways. Everything from supply chain to, peer-to-peer transfers, money payments, digital scarcity. Right? Like again, NFTs have created scarcity with digital assets. That's something that was never possible before, right? Right click save, Napster, right? Like these were things that you couldn't protect against because it was just so easy to make digital copies of things.
Right.
And now all of a sudden that's not as like blockchain essentially protects against that. And there's so many different avenues that it can be utilized in. And so I would say that like I don't completely agree with what this individual said. I think that there's plenty of people, and there's obviously so many case studies now of folks that are utilizing blockchain in so many different types of ways, from not only kind of a financial industry perspective, where you see BlackRock, getting involved, with Coinbase at a, from an institutional perspective, all the way through kind of, again, Walmart using supply chain in blockchain. All these different types of brands that are really dipping their toe in the water to see how they can monetize their IP further, with NFTs and things like that. So I think with venture funding, et cetera, it's definitely a double-edged sword, because, you're giving up control you're giving up ownership of the company.
Yeah.
A lot of people that you really need to talk to, but at the same time, it's extremely, extremely powerful because you have some of the smartest people that are now aligned with you, that have capital, that have connections, that really want to make what you're doing a bigger thing, which is better for the entire world.
Yeah.
And so with venture capitalists, the way that it works is that you can't just be like, hey guys, I have an idea. And again, I was a VC, right? Like I have this really great idea, give me money so I can go execute on it. To a certain extent, you're on your own to start, right? Like you basically have to get from 0 to 1, which is arguably in a lot of ways one of the most difficult things. Like, can you make something that lots and lots of people are interested in, or that solve a problem for lots and lots of people? And now that you've done that, and people can kind of see that you had the ability to create, like, again, it's digital alchemy. You created something out of nothing. And once you do that, people are willing to put fuel on the fire. They're willing to back you and say, all right, cool, you figured something out.
Right.
Go take it from not from 0 to 1, take it from 1 to 10, take it from 1 to 1,000.
Yeah, dude, that's really interesting. To hear the perspective of like the other side of like the VC, the people on the other side of the table, the sharks of the Shark Tank, to hear what their process is. It is interesting seeing some of those guys. Like I think Mark Cuban right now is under some kind of like legal trouble. Like people are talking to him. Apparently he maybe it was an Instagram post. I forget. I get the stories confused, but I saw a bunch of celebrities, famous people are potentially going into some hot water.
Yeah, I mean, like they'll all be fine at the end of the day, right? Like
probably.
It's all kind of, it's basically people that are trying to take, like, again, like someone gets burned on a particular NFT or altcoin or whatever, and they say, hey, like, let me start a class action lawsuit against so-and-so person, right? In fact, I saw one with the founder of Barstool Sports. I'm blanking on his name.
Dave Portnoy.
Yeah. Right. And basically someone came to his house and served him with a I guess, a legal letter saying like, hey, I'm suing you because you promoted SafeMoon and I lost a lot of money because of that. And then in the documents, it actually showcased that the individual in question who was suing him bought SafeMoon before Dave Portnoy talked about SafeMoon, and also sold SafeMoon before Dave Portnoy talked about SafeMoon. And so it's one of these things where like people just, they try. Like, again, I remember, Will Smith, obviously Chris Rock stuff aside, I remember watching this one video where he said, I get sued 15 times a year. It's just like when you're in the spotlight and shit like that, people just come after you because they want to, they can.
Yeah, it's very true. That is a good point right there. That they are getting sued all the time for just random shit. And most of the time it's there's no actual anything there. But anyways, to go away from that subject a little bit, I want to know what your day in the life looks like typically on like a Tuesday or Thursday random day.
Yeah. So like, look, I mean, right now there's like grind mode and build mode. I mean, like there basically is like kind of like marketing mode and I'm not marketing mode, right? So
Sure.
During the run up to season one, I mean, at the end of the day, everything is really about like, there's two components to startups in general, right? It's product and distribution, right? Like you're building something and then you market it so that people come and consume it in whatever way that is. And so with us, right, we did season one, we came out of season one. Season one was a success. People loved it. And we got right back to work, right? So we started raising money from venture capitalists. We started hiring. We started rebuilding an infrastructure. We started thinking about season two, which, again, we already knew we were doing in G Money because we started working with him in December, right? Saying, hey, like December of 2021, he basically said, hey, I want to be the host for the next one. And we said, great. So we already knew that was happening. And so, we basically spent the last, again, so from basically March until really July, I was really fundraising, like hiring, doing kind of creative sessions on like, what is season two going to look like? How is it going to work? And then come August, my life is a shit show. Working probably like 12 to 15 hours a day.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. This is my 4th AMA today.
I believe it.
AMA or a bit like interview. You can tell because I'm just like blah, 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 blah. Like, like my vocal cords are ready to rock.
I was gonna say you're 10 times ahead of me right now, and this is usually my job.
I just like, again, it's just like what I do now, because I think it's just like a really great distribution method. I think it's a really great way for people to like learn about us, learn about the project, and hopefully see like, hey, this guy's a serious dude, right? Like, and I think like that's the thing that if anything I want to convey is like, yeah, internet game is awesome, right? It's the most fucking fun thing you can do in Web3.
Yeah.
But the people that are doing it are really fucking serious, right?
I agree.
And so like that's the thing that really matters. And so, yeah, right now, I mean, it's just like, it's marketing, right? I think, again, you're participating in that tournament that we're doing next week. For us, it's like, again, just really getting the word out for season two. It's this bear market battle, right? Like there's significantly less people here. There's nothing going on in the space. All the quality projects are sitting on their hands. The only thing that you can do is like hang out in your community that, just like kind of chat with your digital, like internet friends or like play like, like free mint hot potato, like essentially. Yeah. And so, we want to basically put on or throw what we refer to as the biggest party in Iowa, right? Like I basically say for everyone that's still here, like come play this fucking crazy ass game, this interactive game show, right? Where you're playing these fun ass little casual mini games, but for the chance to win a Bored Ape, a Mune Ape, a Cool Cat, a Doodle, whatever. And like, if you win that stuff, great. And if not, you will still have the most fucking fun time.
That's a cool idea. I agree. And also the point you made about having competent people. I remember when I first interviewed Doodles, Jordan Castro, the founder of Doodles, a few months ago. And I remember being out of that podcast being like, oh shit. Okay. So this project's doing pretty well. I assume it's going to have to be this level or this caliber of person, or maybe they're just super OG Web3 native, something like that. But there's a huge difference when you look at the top projects. Most of them have a super competent team. I mean, some of them just get fucking really lucky and you don't know who they are. But for the most part, you'll be super competent. And then the point you made just now about having some kind of entertainment factor, I 100% agree with you, not only just because of my opinion, but I've been approached by 2 or 3 different companies to be in a show host position for their like entertainment show. And I'm auditioning for those right now. And it looks like a few different companies are like moving into that sphere because like, this is actually an untapped industry right here. And if you guys are one of the leaders who've already done one last year, you already have massive awards and giveaways and attention, you guys are gonna be way ahead. It's gonna be cool as fuck because you're right. That is something that's entertaining. And right now we don't have a lot of that.
No, and honestly, like, again, here's something that's interesting. It's like games are a part of the human DNA. Like we've been playing games as long as we were like, again, Homo sapiens, whatever it is, right? Like the first deck of cards showed up in like 1100 AD, right? Like we've been playing games for as long as we've been civilized. And games are recession proof. Games are, like everything proof, essentially, right? Like, it's just like we as people need entertainment. We need a way to relax, to have fun, to engage, to interact. And, that's just one of the easiest and most fun ways to do it. So yeah, I mean, that's why I think we love games. It's just that because it's so inherent to the human experience.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, listen, I challenge you to rock, paper, scissors, shoot right now. If you lose, you have to give up a Bored Ape. If you win, I'll give up a Bored Ape. Not that I have a Bored Ape. But
high stakes. But yeah, I mean, like, to a certain extent, like, that's kind of what we do, right? Like, it's this crazy, and I think that's what makes it so exciting. Like, a lot of people, when I, again, because like when you're running it, like, don't get me wrong, when we ran season 1, I lost years off my life. Because it was it was insanity, right? Thousands of people from all over. It was a multi-million-dollar international alpha.
Yeah.
Right? Thousands of
loser chugs of beer. I don't even have a beer. I have a blunt over there. I could absolutely get obliterated on that.
Yeah,
but
yeah, whatever. We can do that then.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, so at the end, I do a little rapid fire Q&A thing. We'll throw in a rock paper shoot game. If you fucking lose, you got to chug, or you got to what's it called? Why am I running out the word? What's it called when you plug the thing and you shotgun.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we'll do something like that. It'll be fun. Eugene, if you're gonna put those things out there, then you're gonna have to participate as well. You're gonna have to send proof on Twitter.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah, legend. And also, yeah, for the people who are watching, I know not everyone here who's watching is on YouTube. There's a few y'all in the house, but there's a lot of people who this also streams onto Twitter. So if you're watching this on Twitter, appreciate y'all too over there. Make sure you retweet this and get people to watch, because this is a pretty cool thing. And you're right, I will be participating. The Joyage Kingdom will be in. We'll most likely win the doodle. I'm just gonna put it out there. We probably have the most competent team of gamers in the Joyage Kingdom, so I hope to win that game. It should be fun.
Cool. Yeah.
What are the games you're excited about?
Gosh, so this is actually pretty interesting. Again, great question. So, again, do you do any type of like creative work at all?
I'm a photographer, and I do. I tried to draw. I suck at drawing. I found that out after 6 months of trying.
we'll use photography.
Yeah.
Right? How long have you been doing it?
Photography, at least maybe 2 or 3 years. 3 years probably.
Think about in year 1 the picture that you're most proud of. Right?
I can show you. I'll find it. I have a photo of it. All right, keep going.
But now think about like your output now, 3 years later.
Huge difference.
Huge difference. Right? And so the reason I bring this up is just because I think it's like kind of the perfect analogy of kind of like where we're like what's happened, right? So like, again, when we did season 1, we're just guys that are like, yo, like, Squid Game for NFTs, like that would be dope. Like that'd be cool. Like people would love that, right? So like, let's build games. And like we built these games, and like we're like so proud of it. We're like, these games are so sick. Like these games are awesome. Like, yeah. And now I look at the output of the games and I'm like, holy shit, like season 1 sucked. That's
so interesting, bro. What? Okay, so all right, so I know you say it sucks, but like I'm gonna be honest, it didn't suck if you guys got that much attention and it was cool. So like, tell me what are the biggest differences maybe? And this is the photo I took. So much like you, your internet game 1 was cool. You just maybe are going to upgrade it to something even way better. And alongside that, dude, this is one of my favorite photos ever. Still, it's got the bird mid-flight, no Photoshop. So I'm proud of this shot. But you're right. All my photography now is even better than this. Exactly. But that's cool as fuck. What are the biggest changes you'd say from season 1 to season 2?
Like season 1 was an experiment, right? Like we didn't know. Like in a lot of ways, we're like you're just using your brain and saying like this makes sense, right? And then it's like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense at all. Like that was completely wrong. Like, what are you doing? And so I think for us, one of the things that we learned in season 1, we originally tried to do it like 5 games, 5 days, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And like by day 2, we were like just dead. We were like, couldn't do it. Like it was just, and like that was just completely unrealistic.
Yeah.
And so like season 2 naturally spread over the course of 2 weeks. And again, this actually ended up being one of like the happiest accidents that ever happened for us, because that like 2-week span of like this incredibly high engagement, this like energy of something's in the air, and that energy, that thing that's in the air is internet game. Like that's what built our community. Like, because people just like relationships were formed. Like there were these teams that developed. In fact, 2 people who met during internet game, like now run a company together.
Let's go.
Crazy ass things. And like that was one of the kind of crazy things. The other thing that we, I think realized is that from like a technology standpoint, from an infrastructure standpoint, like we made technical decisions that were just incorrect, right? Like you think that they make sense. Like, again, they just like a setting on your camera. You're like, oh yeah, like, you know, this resolution is right. It's like, it's not. Like, your pictures can improve significantly. You can capture sunlight so much better if you do X, Y, or Z, right? And so, again, the video game version of that. So for us, it was one of these things where, like, all right, cool. Like, let's move to Unity 3D. Like Unity 3D. Let's use like frameworks like Nakama or like Phaser and things like that really just improve the gameplay, that reduce ping, that reduce latency, that allow us to do things that we never thought were possible or couldn't imagine doing in season 1. So I would say the experience overall that people are going to have is it's just so much more sturdy, fun. The game types are just much more interesting. It's just so much better.
Well, dude, any kind of like event is very hard to set up. People think it's easier, and they're like, "Oh, well, I would do." It's kind of similar when you watch like UFC and you see all the people in the comments going, "He should have fucking punched him. I would have done this." Like, okay, yeah, all right, fam. And so it's kind of one of those things like when you throw an event like that's the exact same shit. And throwing an event is fucking hard. There's a lot of things that go wrong that you're not expecting. You show up and you're like, "Wow, I never would have thought to do that." Like when I was speaking, I did a podcast with V Friends, and I asked Corso, I was like, "Yo, so what went wrong? What could have been way better at VCon?" And he was like, "Well, we showed up to VCon. We had our entire booth set up for all the clothes, and about 300 people ran in, and we realized, oh fuck, we don't have cones, we don't have security, we don't have any kind of organization." And he goes, and 300 people marched up right to our desk, and we were like, "Oh fuck." And I was just one of those things like, we didn't think about it until it happened. Yeah. So it's great that you guys have that, because season 2, you guys will have all these things you've corrected, but then there will be other things that happen because of that. And then you guys will be like, yo, we're going to have season 3 is going to be sick. Or maybe you guys like, fuck it, we're doing a part 2 to season 2. Like crazy shit might happen.
Exactly. I mean, like, look, you don't know what you don't know. And all you can try and do is, I mean, like there's a saying, right? Which is like, a dumb person repeats their mistakes. Average IQ person learns from their mistakes, and a genius learns from the mistakes of others. I'm not saying I'm a genius, but I'm also not a dumb person. So yeah. I think what it is that, you learn from your mistakes, you iterate, you improve. And at the same time, you try to, again, use your brain, right? Like now having gone through what we went through the first time, we're like, all right, cool. Like this happened, that happened. This was unexpected. How can we reduce this particular situation or that particular situation, to improve it, right? Like, again, like you said, like, VCon next time we'll definitely have a bunch of cones.
Oh shit! I'm gonna get Corso fired for that. Gary Vee's gonna be like, "What the fuck? Are you kidding me? You didn't have cones?" That's funny as fuck. All right. So what was your favorite? What was the were G Money and was it Leah, her name? Were they hosting the first season or?
Oh no! So in season 1 we had like this like AI, like we actually like, I don't know if you've seen it. It's like there's this like crop of like these like digital influencers that are popping up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I just saw some stuff about them actually recently.
Yeah. So our first host, if you want to call it that, was this AI robotic influencer called FN Mecca. He's like 10 million followers on TikTok. He's like,
fucking kidding me?
No. What?
That was your host?
Yeah. For season
1. That's fucking nuts.
Yeah. It was awesome.
What?
Dude,
wow.
That he put out for us. It was, I mean, that guy's the team behind FN Mecca are just fucking geniuses. Like, yeah, I know. Like, I'm not a genius. Those guys are just like their brains are just next level.
Dude, that's what. Wait, hold on. Is also I haven't seen enough video. I'm going to especially to prepare for the event. But like, is there a full stream from season 1 that I can find? Is that on the YouTube channel?
No, I don't think
is that available.
Yeah, no, I think we have a case study. I'll send you the case study later on. But we don't have anything like outputted. Like this season actually will have like video stuff associated with it, which I think
really bro, that's a great idea. Just clip it up for TikTok, short form content, all those things.
Yeah, I don't know if did you see our hype video or our season 2 trailer?
I did. Super high pace, bro. Shit was super high pace. I was watching. I was like, yo, this is exactly what you'd want from a high stakes, high pressure. Let's get in. Let's be degenerates. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, dude, it was cool. I'm really happy with how it came out. But yeah, because again, it does capture that kind of that feeling, which we're really excited about. But yeah, no, FN Mecca is the host for our first one. G Money and Leah are the host for our second one. And then, I mean, like, can't really talk about it yet, but like we're basically doing our next big event shortly after season 2, and that's in partnership with like a major brand. Like,
let's fucking go.
Some crazy shit.
That's fucking wild, dude. So you're 32, you said, right? Pretty young, pretty young guy. I mean, I'm 24.
Nice.
So you're 24 years old. What were you doing?
Gosh. So when I was 22 years old, I was working at a startup, and I was managing product for, I was managing product for a hotel tech startup. So I was like basically just like shipping, like working with devs, setting up like what are known as software requirement specification documents. I know, right? It's so sexy. And we were just like shipping product, essentially, just like trying to build product that for hotels. Essentially.
Were you like doing that thinking, how the fuck do I become an entrepreneur? I'm trying to like change my life. Or were you just like, let me just get this job, get this paycheck?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that I got the startup bug when I was in college, right? Like, I think that like it just attracts a certain type of person because they like the flexibility around it. They love the high pace energy. They love that every single day that they have different requirements. They love kind of being the David and the Goliath type situation, as opposed to the person that wants to, work at Facebook now.
Sure.
Versus the person who wants to work at Facebook now is not the person that wanted to work at Facebook in 2004 or even 2002 or whatever. I guess I don't even know when. I think that there's definitely just a certain type of attraction of a certain type of person. But the joke that I actually always had about entrepreneurship and being a founder is that I really had no other choice, right? Like, in order for me to kind of achieve really everything that I wanted in my life, and whether that's like, name, fame, bread, cred, like all that kind of shit that people talk about, right? Money. I knew that like I didn't have like a hyper special, like I wasn't like a rocket scientist. Like I wasn't, like I wasn't I don't think I could read a law textbook. So like for me, I was just like, all right, like I really am passionate about technology. I'm really passionate about, startups in particular. And, you see and hear about all those really amazing stories and you just kind of get your ears in, right? Like, I think that, again, I don't know if you're asking, I think it's just one of these things where I say oftentimes it's like, it takes 10 years to become an overnight success, right? Like, I have 10 years of just experience of like mishits and, some success, some failures, and all sorts of stuff, like all these different types of things that really kind of build into who you are. And you take all of those lessons and that the day that you crush it. And like, I really do believe that this is the thing. Like I feel it in my bones that like internet game is going to be fucking huge. And, I look at everything that I did in the past, and every single thing that I did in the past is really what has allowed me today to have the skill sets and the relationships and really just the thinking to operate the way that we do.
That's cool as fuck, dude. Super introspective there too. Are most of your friends in the real world, are they Web3 native? They know about this shit? They excited about internet game, or are they like, what the fuck are you doing and what does that mean and how did you get money for this?
Yeah, no, I mean, I would say, obviously, I would say, frankly, I've had the same friend since I was 11.
Get the fuck out of here. You serious?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's awesome.
No, we're all homies. And some of us are crypto folks, some of us are not. In fact, I think like that's a lot of like kind of what makes Web3 fun. Something I say about Web3 often is that Web3 is a team sport. Mm-hmm. And that like, it doesn't matter if it's like 4 people or 40 or 400, right? Like you hear about internet game, you're like, yo, you got your boys, right? And you're like, yo guys, I just fucking interviewed this super dope dude and like, he's doing this super cool thing. And like, we're going to play this thing together.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and so that's how kind of things spread in the Web3 space in particular. Right?
Sure.
You have your crews. So yeah, no, I have my friends that are crypto heavy, and like literally like me now, I'm like less trading. I'm like trading a lot less and doing a lot more a lot less of the degen stuff because I'm building. But like, they're all there. They're talking all day long about this Binance shitcoin and that NFT.
Wait, which one is it? Because I was doing some degenerate trading earlier. My friend on TikTok was like, yo, buy this fucking coin right now. And I made a 7x, bro. I made a 7x on top G coin.
I wish I could know. Yeah, dude, oh my God, that's hilarious.
So funny.
Dude, we've had, again, that's what's so funny about this is because like, even like what's happening in the NFT space is essentially just like a parallel or a mirror to what's happening in like the Binance shitcoin space. Mm-hmm. Basically like, hey guys, like, fair launch goes live in this minute, like in this much time. Like, don't get caught with the bag.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Throw it up and like just don't get caught with it. It's what it is. And people are fine. They'll do it all day, right? Like again, most of the time, my friends and I we lose on them, but like
sure,
every once in a while you 10x. Like
it's possible, like, bro. It's very possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of the time it doesn't work out though. I've definitely taken more L's than dubs. I've taken a couple big dubs that like will offset it, which is pretty much the story with NFTs. Like most people will just hit gold with like one, and then they'll miss on like 60, and that's the person you're listening to on Twitter for alpha. But that's kind of how it is. Like when I remember I bought like in 2019 like 4 or 5 different coins. One of them had me Dogecoin. And so that one hit, the rest just fucking went to zero. But that's just how it is typically, you know.
I mean, it's really interesting too, just because like, and that's like, again, it reminds me of this fallacy of thought where, okay, cool. Like, you know, the market just crashed. Let me buy the top 10 coins, you know, on CoinMarketCap. Right. And obviously you have Bitcoin, you have Ethereum, and you have like kind of the mainstays, but a lot of those other coins are not going to be there. Right.
Right.
And so like, again, simultaneously, there's something to be said about the NFT space where like, you're like, oh my God, like this particular NFT or that particular NFT has fallen 95%. You know, like I'm gonna get that. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Fuck, it's actually really hard because there's a lot of projects from back in the fall of last year that I wanted to get into so bad, but I was like, bro, I'm not paying 4 ETH for this NFT. Like there's no way I'm paying 4 ETH for this. And I was like, I'll buy it when the market crashes. But now the market crash, I'm like, yeah, I don't really want that NFT anymore so much. Like I kind of want it, but like just enough to have it for like a day and then just get rid of it, because at this point it's probably not going to be worth anything, you know.
Most likely not. I mean, like, again, it's very similar to, so again, I refer to this as NFT 1.0, like what we went over the last year. And the thing that I oftentimes say is that like, hey, look, if you were in the NFT space from, you know, June of 2021 to, you know, May of 2022, like congratulations, you were part of like one of the most amazing kind of wealth creation opportunities.
Yeah, it's wild
around. If you expect that to return, it will not. It won't, right? And it was the same thing with, again, for me and my guys, like, again, it was 2017 for us, like, and we were just fucking putting money into everything, and we just couldn't lose. Like, we just couldn't, we couldn't, right? Like, ICO, like, again, like, hey, this coin is like, allows you to buy and sell houses, and like, we're like, yeah, totally. and then it like, you know, we X'd on it, and then like went down 99%.
Yeah.
And
that's funny.
But that was the story for all of these coins. And, you know, again, a lot of these mainstays, like, again, it was like Omi's Go and Neo for me, right? Like that, I crushed it on, but like didn't sell out of. They never like really returned to the level that you expected them to.
Yeah. And in the future, like we'll likely have other cycles where the market goes really, really bullish for a few weeks or whatever it ends up being. But you're right. The idea that we just kind of like moon and it's like pure euphoria, like they'll come in waves, but I agree. I don't know if it'll be as crazy as it was, because it's one of those things. You're right. If you weren't here in our last bull run, that was just so fucking nuts. Like you just like you can't quite comprehend. It's the same with crypto. Like I can't see what it's like to have been in those runs a few years ago because I just wasn't here. And it's like, yeah, I can kind of estimate like what it could have been, but it was not the same, bro.
And I mean, there's two reasons for it. And that's actually the reason that I'm excited in with regard to internet game. And like the first thing is that like I remember like this is the thing, like the fallacy of thought was, I'm like, all right, cool. The 2021 bull run is here, right? And I'm like, you know, like my friends who were like, I missed it last time, I'm gonna do it this time. And like we kept waiting for those like crazy ass gains, like to happen in the like kind of the altcoin market, or like with regard to kind of not the shit coins that are like clearly the, you know, like the BSC things. But like we kept waiting for it to happen, and it just never happened, right? It was like, you know, Bitcoin's going to 200K, Bitcoin's going to 150K, Bitcoin's going to wherever, and it didn't, right? Like it moved up from like 20 to 69, I think it was, like, right? Like people were expecting so much more from Bitcoin, from Ethereum, from a lot of these different tokens. But the reason that they aren't doing that is because there's actually a lot more sustainability built into these like true blue, like I guess blockchain protocols, right? And a lot of the money actually was spread out across all these, what I refer to as different seasons, right? So instead of like, again, back in 2017, the only game in town was centralized exchanges, right? So like you can only play on Binance and KuCoin and Huobi and whatever it is. But now all of a sudden you had money on Uniswap, on PancakeSwap, on all these, you know, bridging to whatever the hell it is you're bridging to, all these DeFi, APY, like shit.
Where I lost all my money on the Axie Ronin bridge.
There
Fuck
you go.
those guys. Yeah, fuck all of those guys.
Right? Like I was doing all this like stupid ass Binance shitcoin farming. I just didn't understand what impermanent loss was. And I'm like, this is great.
Hilarious.
Like, I have less money now. But like, basically, again, like it's like, I guess I'm trying to say is that like, just like the kind of altcoin market that became more sustainable, DeFi will inevitably become more sustainable, right? Like the safe moons not coming back, right? The like what's it called? The time wonderlands, the ohms, like not coming back. And then again, the like, hey guys, generative PFP with jam-packed utility, like buy this once and we're gonna build the most amazing metaverse ever. People aren't gonna do it, right?
Yeah,
Like
not to the level they did already. They'll pump up, but they're not going to get to like
no,
not the same level.
they won't. And like, so I think that's the interesting thing here is that like for the NFT investor, the NFT enthusiast, the NFT speculator, the trader, whatever you are, the boxes that a project needs to tick, right, or check are different boxes now, or will be, I should say, right? For anyone that's still here, you guys are gonna crush it because you guys are gonna learn this and be early on shit.
Exactly.
But for, when it does come back, and all of a sudden your cousin and grandma and you're talking about it at Thanksgiving dinner and all that kind of stuff, when that happens, the boxes are gonna be a much more sophisticated level of boxes, and the crazy gains are going to be good gains, but they aren't going to be ridiculous gains.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's healthy, right? Like that's what you want. That's what allows. That's because otherwise, what you have is like you have Disneyland and it's open and then it's shut, and it's open and it's shut. And for everybody, you would rather have just Disneyland open all year round, right? For years and years and years. So I think that like, again, when now you look at something like internet game, okay, cool. These guys executed on season 1. Their community loved it, right? There's less than 1% of game tokens available. 85% of our game tokens were staked to play, right? People weren't minting to flip, right? They wanted to play an internet game. Then these guys expanded their team to 12. They raised $7 million from some of the best VCs in the space. They are talking to freaking Cade Bergman, right? Like, like they're doing all the things, man. They got G Money as the host, right? They're partnering with these huge brands, right? Like, they have a really strong team. They're docs. They're product ready. They're, like that's the kind of stuff that I think that people really need to start paying attention to, as opposed to kind of the like kickstarting a technology company in exchange for a JPEG. Because
right. But another thing that's interesting too, that I was going to talk to you about is you can sell your season 2 tickets during the games with your points and ranks shown in the metadata. That's super cool. That's kind of like VCon style, where they're like you can sell the ticket as like something you can actually resell.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this was probably one of the cooler parts of internet game in general. And this is really kind of us exploring like the practical applications of NFT technology, right? Like we were so much more than a PFP, where literally like, hey, let's say you play an internet game season 2 and after game 3, you find yourself in 10th place, right? You're in 10th place, right? Like that's fucking huge, right? Out of thousands of people, you're in 10th place. And you're like, you know what? I don't want to go into game 4. I don't know how I made it here this long. Let me see if someone wants to take my place. And so you can actually sell your position rank to somebody else. And this was so crazy because now all of a sudden the price floor, the volume, the the price action on these NFTs was not, like I got the 1 of 1 in the collection, or they just posted some dope news and the floor is going up, but rather it was meritocracy based. It was based off your performance is what drove the value of an NFT.
Yeah, I like that.
It's crazy. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I'll like pat myself on the back. Like it was awesome, man.
It's this total chat says he sold his Tom Brady RC around his 4th championship. Tom has 7 Super Bowl rings. I don't even know what RC is. Ring? I don't know what RC means, Chad. But wait, hold on. Chad, I think, are you the guy who also like doxed yourself as like breaking the law a week ago on our podcast? We were talking about drugs, I think, and he just like says, "Oh yeah, like one time I smuggled some drugs," and I was like, "What?" I was like, "Bro, you can't be saying this stuff in the YouTube comments. You're gonna get the FBI's gonna come after you, bro." That's funny as fuck. So yeah, season 2 is gonna be cool. You guys have just a bunch of things you've thought about. I guess that's the cool part about when you're Web3 native. You brand out in the crypto space, there's just things it's just pure instinct. You're like, that's a bad idea. That's a good idea. We should do this. Projects aren't doing this. And that's something that you only can know if you've been in the space, or at least you have like advisors who are in the space.
For sure. I mean, like, again, this is also kind of like again, a lot of the things that I'm saying, like I'm saying things in a lot of ways, and I say it with a smile, and I say it like in a way that I think is like, acceptable, I guess, or like, but like they're tough pills to swallow, right? Like, but the truth is that like I've now been over, like, and I joke about it all the time, but like, like I went from like not, being some guy, just another dude, right? And then all of a sudden we launched the internet game, and all these people are reaching out to us, right? All these venture capitalists reaching out to us, G Money, like all these people are being like, yo, like, what are you doing? Like, tell us about what you're thinking, etc. And so I've now like been in the back room, like I've been backstage, and the conversations that I've had with these people and like the beliefs that they have and all this kind of stuff are I mean, they're very representative of kind of the direction and the kind of the thoughts that I'm sharing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bryce. We appreciate that, man.
Yeah, Bryce, the head community manager over at the Joyage Academy, is a beast. Crushes it. He's in a couple different YouTube groups. But okay, here's a question. This is one of my final ones here. But before we jump into some rapid fire, what is the single most surprising thing you've seen in the NFT space in either the last 3 months? You can go short term, or you can go since like the first craze back in May.
Yeah, so I would say, I mean, two things. One, I think like Webaverse was like kind of like a nice like it was nice to see Webaverse take off like it did, I guess is what I'm trying to say, right? Like those guys had like what, like a 0.2 0.2 NFT cost or like ETH cost, right? And they completely sold out. They completely crushed it. Yeah, they're like a metaverse, and that narrative is obviously really, really strong. But like in the era of free mints, like they were, the first people to like really be like, hey, like we're gonna charge 0.2 ETH for this thing, right? And to see kind of still people come out and participate and all that kind of stuff, that was really, really nice to see. Just because, I think it takes a lot of guts to launch right now. Like that's the entire reason we're doing it, right? Like no one's doing anything. Everything is shit. Like everything is just like, and I don't mean everything. I don't know about everything that's happening right now, but like,
no, it's all basically shit.
Yeah, it's all basically shit, right? It's just basically Binance smart chain in NFTs. Like that's what's happening right now. And so here we are being like, yo, we're gonna throw the biggest fucking party for everyone that's here. You're gonna have a great fucking time, and maybe you'll win a doodle, like, or a whatever, like whatever you win. But at the very least, you're gonna have a really great time. So
hell yeah, dude.
That's what it's about.
Legend. Okay, I'm ready for some fucking rapid fire. You ready?
I'm ready, bro.
Rapid fire questions. You got any tattoos?
No.
Really?
No, I know. Do I seem like a guy?
You seem like you have sleeves for some reason. I thought maybe it's the facial hair, but I figured for sure you got sleeves or like something down there. Nothing?
No, nothing.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Why not?
I haven't found anything that I want permanently on my body yet.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you have a favorite alcohol?
Bud Light.
No way.
Swear.
Bud Light's your favorite beer? So you're going to choose to drink Bud Light?
I drink 3 Bud Lights a day, 4 Bud Lights.
Bro, you've been buying Ethereum $9 and you're drinking Bud Light? What the fuck?
Yeah, no, I love Bud Light. I'm a volume drinker, dude.
Okay.
I'm a volume drinker.
Gotcha. Okay, then Dizzy, I see Dizzy in the comments says, do you plan on getting tattoos if you find what you like? Like, are you against getting them?
No, I think I'll get if when internet game gets a $1 billion valuation, I'll get the internet game logo.
Let's fucking go. You heard it here first. All right. Where have you not traveled to that you want to travel to?
Marrakesh.
Where is it?
Morocco.
Oh, Morocco. Okay. Very cool. Okay. Where do you want to retire? Physical location.
South of France. Côte d'Azur, Nice.
Right on. Fire. Where was it? I just saw it. Oh yeah. What's your favorite food chain?
Taco Bell.
Oh, is that why they were saying? I saw someone talking about there. Someone asked about the Mexican pizza, and then someone right before said something about a Taco Bell frame. Charles.
Yeah. So the story, really quick story on it.
Yeah, tell me.
I started one of the, like, again, I'm a growth hacker, right? So my favorite menu item got discontinued from Taco Bell. It's called the Mexican pizza.
Okay.
So I started a change.org petition to bring it back, and it is one of the most signed change.org. And Taco Bell brought the Mexican pizza back, and now I'm super tight with like Taco Bell.
Dude, that's fucking amazing. That's fucking amazing. Wow.
If you were convinced as me as a founder now, hopefully now.
I was gonna say, fuck me, dude. This guy gets shit done. If he needs it to be done, he gets it done. That's wild. My God. Wow. Okay. Do you have any near-death experiences, like you should not be alive type situation?
Yeah, I once was in a whitewater rafting accident where I fucked up my leg, and then I was once in a car crash. And actually, the interesting thing about the car crash was, I think again it was 6 a.m. We were pledging. And we were like driving home from Philadelphia for some reason, and the car started hydroplaning, and we were on the highway, and basically, there was like a light turn, but then the car kept turning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was in the passenger seat, and I can still remember like my friend looking at me and like with his eyes communicating like, I don't have control of this car.
Like, fuck.
And it was this like slow motion moment, you know, like I can remember like that, like just like slow motion bracing for impact. But, you know, thank God and thank
Fuck.
cars, all this kind of stuff. None of us were injured. Again, 30 seconds later, a fucking 18-wheeler goes by. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy to think about, but yeah.
Jesus Christ, that's crazy how life can slow down. I've been in a few of those situations where literally life froze. Just like like one time I was going to a college class. I'm half Japanese, right? So I took Japanese in college because I already knew the language. So I go in and my teacher's like, he's like a classic. He's straight out of Japan. Like this motherfucker doesn't take excuses. And I had never really missed a class. I was never really late. It was a fun class. Like I just kind of dicked around in the back. And so I'm biking to class. I'm living downtown and I'm about 5 minutes away. And I hear a car behind me and I'm biking and the car basically like swerves around me, but the front of his car smacks my tire. I flew forward like Superman. I'm flying for probably like 5 or 6 seconds in the air, like full blow. And I'm like, wow, I'm in the fucking air. I remember thinking, holy shit. And I realized the reason I'm doing this is not because I'm looking around. It's because I'm spinning in the air. I'm literally going, oh, wow. And then I'm like, oh shit. And I see that this fucking cement, I just crashed into the ground. And I remember I'm like bleeding, covered in blood, like limping into class. And my teacher looks at me. He's just like, you're fucking late. Like, it's just like, what do you do? Why are you late? I'm like, sort of like covered in blood. And I was just like, go man outside. And he was like, sit down. And I see Bryce says, Krish is the one who brought back the motherfucking Taco Bell. He says he owes you his life. All right, well, I guess I have to fire Bryce and he's your new community manager.
Bryce, you got to play an internet game now.
Let's go. That's fucking legendary. Okay, last question. Do you have any guilty pleasures?
Gosh. Yeah, talk about Bud Light. I would say, yeah, those are having fun. I mean, I hope you can tell. I mean, like, I don't, like, again, I'm a serious guy. I don't take myself too seriously.
Hell yeah.
So I just like to have good, like to have fun, like to have a good time. Love to go on dates. Love to meet people.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Right on, dude. Hell yeah. Well, listen, dude, this is fucking fun. I want us to talk about you. I want to talk about the game, the NFTs and stuff like that. So I feel like we covered pretty much fucking everything. I had a great time.
Dude, yeah, dude. You're the man, dude. I really, really, again, as someone who does this entirely too often, I very much enjoyed this conversation. You're really cool to talk to.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Guys, if you made it to the very end, code word is going to be fucking Taco Bell, I guess. Yeah, that's the word. You made it to the very end.
Fucking Taco Bell.
Fucking Taco Bell? Oh shit, typo, whatever. A fucking Taco Bell. A fucking Taco Bell. If you made it to the very end, and it's not your first episode, I also want to see OG spam the chat. This is episode 93 of the Joyage Kingdom. Thank you so much for being here. If you haven't already, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, join the kingdom. I have his stuff down below in the description, as well as their link tree to the internet games. All their links are down below if you want to check them out. Thank you so much for being here. Until next time, continue on your Joyage, continue to learn, and be grateful you're alive watching this video. Bye.